Good morning. It's great to have you with us today. Today we're chatting with Kai about online church. So Kai, tell us firstly why online church started in the first place.
So March last year we had the beginning of the COVID pandemic, and almost as an emergency response to that we started doing church online, and churches got closed and online grew. And what we found was people were joining us, not just from Aberystwyth, which we know and where we are, but from other places as well. And so as time went on and online went on, and actually as restrictions first began to ease, we really had a sense that we need to plant a special online church which really caters for our online community. And actually, through the midst of the turmoil of COVID, God was doing something exciting and new, and we wanted to be part of that, just to bring glory to his kingdom really and grow his kingdom. And so we're in the position now where we are looking to really launch an online church.
Awesome. So the online church was launched as a result of the pandemic. Over that period now between kind of March and now, what has grown and what has happened with online church?
So, I mean, to start with, I think we've learned a lot of new skills. When I think back to that first time last March, we were really like riding by the seat of our pants trying to work out what to do and do things. Since then, we've learned skills in just technology. We've learned skills in how to upload things. We've employed an online pastors, you and Bethan, of course, to come and join us in the team in Aberystwyth. And I guess identifying the need that is out there. And again, looking at people who might be drawn to online worship for a variety of reasons. That could be people who physically can't be in church on a Sunday. That could be people who go to another church on a Sunday but want to engage with this as if you like another church. It could be people who are stumbling across something and they find it and think, wow, there's really something in this thing called Christianity. The options are just endless, I guess. So we've really identified that there is this need and we're just running with it. So we've started with kind of our emergency, let's get people online for church, and it's really grown into something of its own. So what do you think the future holds for online church? So the idea for us is, we're here in Aberystwyth, we have 5 established churches, if you like, and we're all part of one wider church, if you like. Now we're looking to essentially plant this 6th church, which isn't in a physical building as such, but is where people are, where people can meet us online, be that through Facebook, be it through YouTube. And so the idea now is, instead of saying, oh right, we're coming from this church or that church in Aberystwyth, this will be a church on its own. That is part of us as a wider church in Aberystwyth, though of course not limited to Aberystwyth. It is for literally anyone anywhere in the world to come and join and see what God is doing.
Fantastic. So the online church has got quite a future ahead of it then. It's not just going to end with the pandemic finishing.
No. So we're going on, and next week, next Sunday, the 4th of July, is in many ways going to be our own Independence Day, where we are our own church in itself. And so we're going to continue with a lot of services which people have got to know already in the last year. So there'll be a service on a Sunday morning at 11 o'clock, but other things as well. So morning prayer, which happens on a Tuesday, will continue. Holy Communion, which happens on a Wednesday, will continue. And we're also looking to build in other things that we go along with church, I guess. Things like life groups and alpha groups and all the things that make up what a church is, we will do, albeit online, not in a physical church building.
Who do you think that's going to be for? Who will that appeal to?
Yeah, in many ways it can appeal to anyone, but for us we certainly do have in mind guys, as I say, who can't go to church on a Sunday, people who are working, people who are ill, people who are stuck somewhere else. The biggest problem with the modern world is church on a Sunday isn't always as accessible as we would like it to be. So there's that group of guys especially. There are people who worship in other churches, but kind of like to go to another church as well and be part of what we are doing. And we remember, actually, though we are different churches and we're in different locations and even different denominations, we are one universal church, and we are one, and we want to work as one. So there's a lot of people, if you like, who will fall into that category. And I say there's a lot of people who might be seeking. The one thing I guess we know is how hard it is for somebody to walk into a church building. It can be sometimes quite a terrifying experience. But here, for people, they have the opportunity just to click on something and be part of all of it as well, and really be part of doing church too. And if you think about it, it kind of makes sense. I mean, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, everything you bought in a shop. Yeah. Then online shopping came in, and now people still buy things in shops, and some shops are flourishing. But how many of us have had things delivered in the last year, and how many of us will continue to have things delivered? And that's been the way. It's not saying that one shop is bad or buying online is good, or the other way around. It's actually saying we need both. And it's exactly the same for church as well, and where we're going in this age.
You mentioned that next week is going to be a bit of an Independence Day for the church. Up until now, the online services have been mainly focused towards providing support for Christians in our LMA. We have picked up many people from outside of that, which has been absolutely fantastic. But from next week, do we expect that to change? What kind of changes do you think we'll see? So
the first change we're going for is a name. So whereas before it's been the LMA service, if you like, next Sunday, under this Bro Aberystwyth title online, we are having our service called The Nave. And that can sound like a bit of a name of, you what? The Nave? What's going on there? And I've got to say, it's come after a lot of prayer and discussion, but we're sat in a church right now. And if you look up to the ceiling of a church, you'll notice that the church looks like a boat. The roof of a church looks like a boat, and there's a reason for that. And I guess it's the idea of being safe and being safe on the storms of life, and there's a connection with Noah's Ark as well. So there's a bit of a nautical thing going on. But we wanted to make the link of actually saying this really is church. And when you come to church, you sit in the nave, and wherever you're joining us on online church, be it at home, be it in work, be it anywhere at all really, you are still in that nave place. This is real church. And added to that, we are in Aberystwyth, next to the sea, with all the kind of nautical themes going on there. It just made a lot of sense.
Fantastic. So you say the nave is kind of to represent that, this is church, and, as you would sit in the nave in a physical church, so the service will be the church. Does that finish and end with the service, or is there going to be more to church life for the online church?
Oh, absolutely, there's going to be a lot more to church life. And in many ways, though we're calling it an Independence Day as such, it is a soft launch, because the one thing we need to do is listen now. We listen to God continually, of course, but we need to listen to people who might be joining us and want to be part of this church. So the idea is, just like any church has its structures and its ways of communicating, we need to do the same. We want to form a church committee. We want to hear from anyone who's interested. So in the next few days, we're going to have a survey which we can send out to anyone who's involved in online church, where we're asking key questions about the future, even down to the time of day that the service happens, and what people want from the service as well, what will help feed them. So this is a soft launch, which is a learning experience, and we really want to learn from people the way and the direction that the Lord together is calling us to go, so we can further on reach out to people and do God's work.
Awesome. So it sounds like we're not going to see drastic change all of a sudden, but we're going to really be feeling this out with God and with each other to see who this service is for and how best to serve the people.
Yeah, and in some ways, things might not feel that different come the 4th of July. So the service time is going to be the same. We'll still be having times of sung worship. We're still going to be hearing from the Word of God. We're going to continue with the sermon series on Acts, as we've been doing in this last year up to date. And we're going to be praying and all those other things. So it might feel like not much is changing, but this is the start of a process to go on that journey to really ensure that we are a church in its own right.
Wonderful. So that is a fantastic little chat with you about the future of online church. It's really cleared up a lot of things in my mind. What do you think people can be praying for the online church for as we look to the future?
I think pray that we would listen to God. Pray that we would keep listening to God. Pray that we would listen to each other and take each other seriously. Pray that all the things that we need for this to thrive will come together. And pray above all that more and more people who don't know God, who have never stepped foot in the church, for whom a lot of people, this thing called Christianity is alien, will click on something. Click on a link on Facebook, click on a link on YouTube, and as they're scrolling through and we click on all these things that come up, they will find something that is true and lasting and real, and that is the love of God and the grace that comes from God. And fundamentally, that's what we're in this for, to grow as disciples and see more people to come to be disciples as well.
Amen. All right, thank you very much for your time, Kai. It's been great having you with us.
Thank you.